Alright, so we are here with Schmier from Destruction, but the purpose of this interview is to talk about another band called Headhunter. Now Schmier, when you left Destruction, or Destruction left you back in the 90s, you did not waste time. What was your first musical journey after Destruction?
Yeah, Headhunter was for me an important step to keep on playing. So I didn't want to give up. I have written a lot of lyrics for the Destruction album and I had a lot of ideas. And I wanted to continue doing something. It was important to not give up. And then we did this Headhunter album. I think it's never been released in America. I think it just came out in Europe and in Japan. Parody of Life. It's a mixture of a little bit of Destruction and I would say a lot of heavy metal in there, Judas Priest. So it's a thrash meets metal album. Some really cool songs, I think.
Well, in fact, I want to say that when we first met back in '89 and you were telling me about the new Destruction songs, those were the titles that ended up on this album.
Exactly, yeah. So I used a lot of the lyrics for this record basically, and Destruction used some of my titles for the Crack Brain album.
Including probably Crack Brain.
Yeah, which made me really pissed off. I was really mad at them at the time. But yeah, that's what happens, you know. Headhunter basically kept my musical spirit alive. It wasn't so important to be successful, it was important to still do something. And we've been doing some stuff. We had some tours with Saxon in Europe, we've been in Japan with Headhunter also. So the band was of course far away from being Destruction successful.
Yeah, I was actually wondering why it wasn't promoted like that.
Yeah, it wasn't so easy because when the band kicked me out, everybody stepped on the band's side. So I was the guy
on your own.
The guy that was out there left alone basically, and for me it was just important to prove that I can do something without them. Success was not so important. Second album, we decided to do an album that has not a metal cover, because actually it's the same guy that did Release from Agony. He's a good friend of mine, and I really liked the design, and we just did it. It was like, and the Bizarre Gardening Accident is of course from it's a quote from Spinal Tap.
And how did things change musically on this album?
Yeah, it's even more metal. The guitar player wrote a lot of stuff for the album, and he's like a big fan of Judas Priest. So we tried to go a little bit more melodic at that time, and you know, there was no more need to do what people want to hear. I could just play some metal with some friends. There was no more pressure, no more like label or manager that wanted to put me in the direction, you know. So I just could do what I wanted. And at that time, the other two guys were like big Judas Priest fans, so we're mixing like this Judas Priest influence with a little bit of Destruction, of course.
Now, with 2 albums under your belt with Headhunter, how are the fans responding to it? New fans and Destruction fans, because I'm sure some Destruction fans wanted to know what it was you're up to.
Yeah, but those Headhunter albums are hard to find.
They are.
Yeah. This one is the last one that came out in the 90s. In the 90s we were full of grunge and full of death metal, so it was very difficult to get a label that releases the album. But actually, I like this one a lot. Rebirth was a little break we did for 2 years, and then this album came. That's why it's called Rebirth, because we decided to do another album. Even was difficult at that time, and I think it contains also some great songs. And as you said before, we were doing one more album some years ago, Parasite of Society. The problem is that those guys from Headhunter, they are living far away from me, and they all have businesses running, so it's not so easy to do stuff together. For me, it was a nice hobby. It's something I love heavy metal. I've been growing up on new wave of British heavy metal, and that's why the Headhunter stuff was always great fun for me. And that leads us to the Panzer,
which is a newest venture.
Yeah.
Outside.
There was 2 guys from Accept that were asking me to join their project because they kind of were looking for a singer and a bass player. And for me, it was of course an honor to be asked to join a project like this. And then basically it connects very good with Headhunter. You know, this is like, this is different though, but it has the same heavy metal roots. This is like, there's not much thrash left here. It's just like straightforward, aggressive heavy metal. and it's great fun. It was a new experience for me to work with top-notch musicians also out of the metal genre, that kind of a little older than me also. So basically I was the youngest guy in the band all of a sudden. That never happened before, and actually we just finished our second Panzer album that will come out.
Will it be the same lineup?
It's a little bit different. It's the same drummer, Stefan Schwarzman, who used to be for Running Wild and Accept. Then on the guitar will be Pontus Norgren from Hammerfall. And the second guitar will be V.O. Pulver, who's the guitar player for Poltergeist, and also produced many Destruction albums, and also produced this Panzer album.
How would you say the Panzer album did when it came out?
Actually, reactions were good. We sold quite well. It was very sad it never got released in America, because the American label said this is too old school for America. You know, so like I checked the sales some weeks ago of this album, and it sold pretty well actually. Nuclear Blast didn't drop us. We got a new album deal, so the new album's coming out in August. But yeah, I'm sure a lot of American fans would have liked this too, to see this album coming out, but they had to buy the import, so it's a little sad.
Now, with Panzer, was there any live gigs, any tours?
We played some festivals. The problem is, of course, that Pontus is playing for Hammerfall, I'm playing for Destruction. Pulver is having a studio, and he's having Poltergeist shows also, and his other band, Gert. So it's not so easy to do shows together. So we're planning on, we said if you get a good tour, we could do a good tour. We're talking to some other bands at the moment. We would like to do a support tour for a heavy metal band. That would be great.
Now, speaking a little bit again about Headhunter, will those records ever be available in the US? Do you have any rights to them?
Actually, the Headhunter albums got re-released over AFM Records. But at that time when they came out, AFM had no distribution in America yet. So I don't know how they're doing right now in America. But it would be definitely a thing to re-release those. I mean, they re-released them 2009 or so. And now as they have an American distribution, it would be nice to re-release them, but I don't know if they can do it. They still have the rights until 2019 for 2 more years. So now, if that is done, then I can give them to another label, and then we might re-release them.
Do Destruction fans often ask you about Headhunter? Do they investigate? Or is it something kind of like a forgotten thing?
It's kind of a forgotten thing. Like a lot of bands now come up with a Panzer. Like the Panzer album had a very good response from the crowd, and I've been signing a lot of those Panzer albums in the last 2 years. So Headhunter is like the forgotten jewel. So some old fans still know about it, but it's hard to find. Also, the albums are hard to find.
They are.
And it never sold like big amounts, you know, so there's not so many albums around also, so it's hard to find.
Well, that's why I wanted to do this interview, to kind of shed some light on this forgotten band that's really cool, but barely anybody knows it.
Yeah, it's good, and without Headhunter I wouldn't be here playing music, because I would have maybe taken a normal job, you know, have a bakery now or whatever. Yeah,
that's right. There was some talk about you operating a pizza place for a while, right?
I used to have a pizza restaurant for many years. Yeah.
And what was that like? Is that something that made you almost give up music?
Yeah, you know, from 96 was the last Headhunter album, to 99, when Destruction came back, there was like 2 years where I didn't touch my bass almost, because I kind of gave up because the grunge thing came. There was metal was like almost dead. I remember the German Rock Hard magazine, which is was the biggest magazine at that time in Germany, kind of wrote like, had a gravestone that said heavy metal, and then like the big headline is heavy metal dead. But actually, for me it was important. I had to make some money, you know, like all those years of trying. Many musicians know how it is. You cannot afford a living. So for me, the own restaurant business was a way to make money with something that I like. You know, I have education as a baker. My family always had restaurant business, cafe, and a cafe also. So I've been involved in that for my life, and I brought a lot of like recipes and drinks from touring life that I that I could offer to my guests. You know, I was the first restaurant that had like margaritas in Germany. I was the first guy that had like caipirinhas from Brazil in Germany. So down south people didn't know those drinks. So I was serving that stuff in my bar. So I brought a lot of stuff from tour home and brought it into my restaurant. It was called Barracuda. It's like the heart song.
Which really tells you that being in the band does not make you rich.
No. I
You
mean,
have to have a plan B.
You know, if you're Metallica, of course, and Slayer, and a few others, Megadeth, Anthrax, but most of the thrash bands are not rich. They have to fight hard to survive. And back in the day, you could still sell a lot of records, but now it's over. So many people don't know, but you know, the streaming portals, when you stream the songs, that gives the band almost no money, and YouTube doesn't pay you either. So it's kind of it's hard to make money nowadays.
It's not easy being in the band. It's not easy being in the music.
It's still the best job in the world.
But still the best job in the world. Thank you.